It is my pleasure to welcome you to the maiden edition of Marketing Edge on TV, Nigeria's first and leading program on the business of brand management and the management of brand business. I am Tony Agenmonmen. Do join us again.
The Nigerian marketing and advertising industry no doubt offer a huge potential for prospective investors and professionals with requisite skills and competencies to tap into the market. Marketing Edge on TV is a potpourri of happenings and developments in the integrated marketing and communication space of the Nigerian economy.
Welcome back. If you just tune in, the program is Marketing Edge on TV, a 30-minute potpourri of happenings, issues and development in the business of brand management and of course the management of brand business. Let's start by whetting your appetite with some top news, gists on the market, brands and personal charts.
Hello and welcome. Leading biscuits manufacturing giant AGRO Allied has launched a new brand of biscuit called Milky Bar into the Nigerian market in order to win more consumers and expand its market share. Milky Bar comes in variants of 22 grams and 72 grams respectively, and it is basically produced for children as its target market. Leading carbonated soft drink producer Coca-Cola has ventured into the alcoholic drink segment by launching its first alcoholic drink in Japan. The canned liquor, a fizzy lemon-flavored concoction laced with spirits, was introduced by the company to capitalize on the growing popularity of Chewy, alcohols enjoyed especially by young women in the country. With the launch in Japan, Nigerian consumers should be prepared to savor the new Coca-Cola alcoholic beverage brand. Interesting.
You're watching Marketing Edge on TV, Nigeria's #1 brand management initiative on television. One of the savory segments on this program is Brand in Focus, a special review segment of top brands performing excellently well in the marketplace, connecting with consumers at different points of needs in terms of changing lifestyle, tastes and behaviors. Our brand in focus today is Unilever Nigeria PLC, a multinational consumer goods company. The company's segments include food products, personal care, and home care products.
Unilever has operation in about 119 countries, including Nigeria. But its Nigerian business has been adjudged as the fastest growing business in the Unilever world, contributing about 2 to 3% to its total revenue. This explains why the multinational company considers Nigeria a priority market. He supported his point by disclosing that 85% of the company turnover was manufactured locally so as to build the industrial ecosystem of Nigeria to develop and evolve. He said the company was working with people to build local industrial capabilities, collaborating with industries to transform cassava and other raw materials to producing toothpaste through its Partner to Win project. Partner to Win is the Unilever Nigeria initiative of investing in capabilities of intermediary companies to enable them to convert farm produce to usable goods that will be sourced by the companies as part of the raw materials. The company has also launched a project called Naija Centricity. Naija Centricity was born out of the company's passion to celebrate Nigerians' culture and build more talent. The project also seeks to understand consumers' instincts and impulses with a view to building viable brands.
You're watching Marketing Edge on TV, Nigeria's #1 and leading program on the business of brand management and the management of brand business. My guest today on the brand personality chart is a doyen of marketing in Nigeria, is a strategic marketing management expert and president of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria. Tony Agenmonmen, it's my pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
I'm really excited. Now, let me start by asking you, how would you, or what would you say is your assessment of the Nigerian marketing environment?
Well, the Nigerian marketing environment is as dynamic as you would expect any marketing environment to be. I mean, we have great brands, we have old brands and new brands coming in, and we have great brand management experts that are exciting the market. So for me, it's quite lively. I mean, I don't want to be comparing what used to be and what it is today, but because the scene is evolving. I mean, the ways we used to market those days is different now. I mean, social media is there. The platforms for marketing today is different. It's a different platform, and I think it's exciting for the time.
Now, to what extent do you see these efforts paying off for the brand on the long run?
Obviously, I mean, it's going to create a lot more marketing awareness for the brand. So the brand equity will grow up. It depends. It depends. First of all, you have to align everything. The brand has to be right. Your messaging has to be right. And if you have all that together with the opportunity it creates, obviously we expect the brand awareness to go higher.
Recently, the federal government announced a hike, in excise tariff for alcohol and cigarette, and it appears to me that consumers of these brands were like, the federal government has come again. Now, what's your take on that?
Well, let's look at it this way. Excise duty is a legitimate tool that the government can use, any government, and it can be used for two defined purposes. One, to raise revenue, and two, to control consumption. And my guess is that the federal government is trying to achieve both. They definitely need the revenue to do a lot of the things that the province, especially with oil prices still a little bit shaky, and we're not too sure whether it will go up further or it will come down. And giving again all the promises that they need to fulfill. Secondly, there is a lot of discussion globally about the effects of tobacco, and I'm sure I don't need to dwell into that because you know the history very well. So I'm sure they also want to control that. Also for alcohol, I think there's also a lot of discussion globally about the effects of excessive consumption of alcohol. I'm also sure that the government wants to control that. But coming back to the consumer, my take is that for those who really want to take beer, alcohol if you like it, it might moderate them a little bit. It's not going to really stop them from going with their habits. For tobacco, I mean, you know all the campaigns that have been run about don't take cigarette and the rest of it. The impact globally has not been significant. So I am not too sure that there will be major shift in consumer habits because of the excise duty. And
is this likely also to have an implication on the advertising spends of this brand?
Obviously, even though I say that it's not going to have a major impact, but there are going to be some people who will be affected because, in terms of if you were taking this amount of alcohol, obviously when the price is slightly higher, you need to watch it a little bit. So marketing people will need to reinforce with the consumers the fact that they need to take their brands and they have to give them even stronger justification, and doing that means that they have to spend a little more in terms of communication.
Interesting. Now, just before I let you go, I was going to ask you to what were the major challenges or major changes that you have affected since you assumed the leadership of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria?
Thank you for that. When we came in 2016, November precisely, the institute was not in the state that any marketing professional could be proud of. I think the council set out right from start that we needed to reposition the institute, and I'm proud that the restructuring is virtually done. We still need to tidy up a few things. We didn't have a befitting secretariat. We have moved to a new place, although it still needs a little bit of furnishing. We are appealing to all our members to support us there. Overall, I would say things are looking better in terms of the equity of the institute, which was at its lowest level. I'm happy that a great number of our professionals do recognize that things are being run differently, and they are coming back, they are supporting the institute. And if you followed our annual conference that we had in February this year, it was a great one because we had the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment there with us. We had the representation from the government, Femi Additional was with us. And then we had the top of the top professionals in the marketing profession. They were there. And we focused on a great idea of how the institute and the marketing professionals can help in marketing Nigeria. And that is in the works. We have the community ready, and at the appropriate time we are going to present our views to the government on how we can support them in terms of repositioning our country.
Beautiful. I really can't wait to see that happen. Thank you so much, Tony Agenmonmen. He has been my guest today on the brand personality chat of Marketing Edge on TV. He is the national president of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, is a doyen of marketing, and also is a strategic marketing management expert. Nice speaking with you.
Thank you very much.
Hope to have you again some other time. You're welcome.
The chairman of Mamba Energy Drink, Ayo Ojuroye, has stated that one of the aspirations of the company for its newly launched energy drink, Mamba Energy Drink, is to begin to produce the energy drink in Nigeria very soon. Ojuroye explained that though the idea of the drink was conceived about 4 years ago, the company wanted to ensure it delivered quality drinks to the Nigerian consumers. Hence its decision to wait that long before making its debut in the nation's market.
I know this is 2018 and we are launching the baby. Now this is actually quite deliberate and is very strategic. Like we said earlier, we weren't trying to push the product to the market. We wanted to build a sustainable product and a sustainable brand.
While expressing the company's commitment to the nation's business environment, Ojuroye stated that the product was being introduced to fill in some noticeable gaps in the market and at the same time create a pan-African brand that can effectively compete with the top foreign brands in that category.
I think first of all the importance of the media policy first of all is to bring awareness of the product, the Mamba energy drink. Obviously we've been at this now for about 3 years. A lot of work has gone in to be able to get to this position where we can now officially launch the product. We are hoping that through this parley, at least you can help us amplify some of the positive energy, messages that goes with the brand. Like I said in my earlier speech, we're not asking for favor. We just want the media to draw attention to the public and to our consumer. Some of the unique selling point of Mamba energy drink, and hopefully in the coming months and years, people through their own experience of the product will come to realize that this is a product that has come here to stay and will earn its right within the energy market space.
The company's general manager, Titilola Adedeji, added that one of the uniqueness of the new brand is that while other energy drinks brands in the market are manufactured with bias for foreign consumers, the new product is specially designed for the Nigerian consumers.
Unique selling point, right? I specifically said in my speech, Mamba was created for the African market because of the gap we saw in that market. What has happened over the years with all these energy drinks that you said is they have produced a certain type for Africa and a certain type for the international standard. But what we had gone ahead to do was to get the international standard approval solely for Africa. As you would care to know, we have done a careful research of the Nigerian drink market long before now and found out that the market is bustling with a plethora of energy drinks. Notwithstanding, our findings reveal that most of the brands out there are manufactured with a bias for foreign consumers.
So what we're trying to do here today is to introduce Mamba formally to the Nigerian market. So we've come in initially and we've done a test run.
I think the public should get on the Mamba train and ensure that each and every home has a can of Mamba in their house.
A can of Mamba retails for 250 naira, which is the industry average for the cost of an energy drink. And because we are confident in what we have put in here, we are not selling ourselves short and we are not overpricing our customers as well.
She added that the new drink has been produced with reduced caffeine and taurine content with increased vitamin B to make it healthier for consumption.
You're watching Marketing Edge on TV, Nigeria's leading initiative on the business of brand management and the management of brand business. Now, the most treasured and coveted Global Creative Content Award, the Cannes Lions 2018, just ended. But most unfortunately, no contemporary traditional creative agency in Nigeria, quite a number of whom are affiliated, have performed creditably year in, year out at the global event. This is the issue that we'll be discussing today on the brand conversation platform of Marketing Edge on TV. Now, joining the conversation is Lanre Adisa, Managing Director, Chief Creative Officer, Noah's Ark. Lanre is a frontline advertising practitioner in Nigeria, a former creative director at Insight Communications. He has held and won several advertising pitches due to his renowned creative pedigree. He set Noah's Ark 10 years ago to reshape the Nigerian creative landscape. 10 years down the line, Noah's Ark has become the standard benchmark for measuring the Nigerian creative industry, as it has won several local and international creative awards and laurel. Here with me today is the man behind this great feat. Well, by the way, he was also a juror at the recently held Cannes Lions 2018 Film Festival. Larry, you're welcome.
Pleasure to have you.
Now, can it be said that the creative input of these agencies at promoting brands doesn't match global standards? I mean, resulting in, in the exclusion at the grand finale?
I wouldn't put it that way. I think that would be a very sweeping statement for starters. I think where we are today is so different from where we were, some 5 or 10 years ago as an industry. We have to be mindful of that. Coincidentally, we're in the World Cup season, and I'd like to liken what is going on, with the world of football as an analogy. It takes some, practice. It takes some effort, to actually get to the top. A bit of statistics might just be of help. Of all the entries from around the world, I don't have the exact numbers now, but they run into their thousands. Only 3% of them will make the shortlist for starters at the end of the day. And of the entire thing, you probably have 1% that will actually win at the end of the festival. So it's quite keen, and it's from all over the world. So I know that the standards are rising, but we need to do more, no doubt about it. There are a couple of factors that can make it easy for any agency to win, at the Cannes Festival. But again, we can't just take the Cannes alone as a way of measuring whether we are, doing things according to what standard or not. There are a couple of other festivals around the world, around our continent, And of recent, Nigerian years have been doing very well. So that's why for me, I'll be a bit cautious in making such a sweeping statement, but I think we're on that way there. Yes, the pace can be more than where we are now, definitely.
Now, is it as a result of their not telling the story? I mean, how can creativity in Nigeria tell the brand story? Because it appears that the exclusion, is as a result of some of these agencies not telling the story. Do you agree?
Okay, what I would say is this. Definitely for us to excel, we need to tell our stories. I mean, I agree with telling our stories. And a good example would be a country like India. Think about India about 10 years or thereabout ago. 15 years or so in terms of India making a mark on the international stage. Before then, they also did advertising that was mirroring the West. Like you'll find in different parts of the world as well. Until you find your own voice and tell your own stories, then you don't stand so much of a chance. That's one thing I must say. Reason being that the guys are competing against, these guys have production budgets that you can never imagine. So there's no way you can get anything wrong. Yes. So the only thing that can give you the breakthrough is that you actually tell a story that the world has never, heard about before. And I think we are on our way there. Because even when you look at the things that we do on the local front, and some of them do win. I mean, for instance, the work we did for Airtel, one big at the just concluded Crystal Awards in Marrakesh, and it was all about telling our story, telling the Nigerian story more than anything else, and then with a universal bent to the entire thing as well. So I think by and by that will happen. I mean, it's interesting that we're talking about telling our stories now. One of the highlights of this year's Cannes Awards is the Cannes Lions is the Lion of St. Mark Award that was given to Piyush Pandya and his brother for their contribution to creativity, to promoting the Cannes Lions as a concept. And it all came from, if you look at the body of work from Piyush Pandya and his brother, it's all about telling the Indian story, the richness of the culture, the relevance of it in today's world and all that. And I think for me, sitting down there and listening to both brothers being interviewed and also getting awards much later, about 2 days later, it just gave me, a lot of optimism that if we keep at it, we'll definitely make a difference. I can see that as the future for our industry.
I quite agree with you, but is it like creative industry is not measuring up in Africa?
I think we can do a lot more. And we have every reason to do that. I mean, if you look at even locally, on the local front, look at Nollywood. Yes, you can say anything about how it started, about the quantity, about the quality, about what have you. But by and by, Nollywood is getting to tell better stories, and the production values are getting better as well. And I think as brands people, we can't, we have a whole lot more that we can do because we understand and appreciate production values for us even better than some of those guys in the film industry. So, and the entire world is amazed at the level of the kind of stories, the story of the black, the black race, as it were, as coming out of Nigeria. So how do we reflect that as an industry? How do we get that storytelling into what we do? So a few agencies are probably doing it, but a whole lot more need to do it. We need to actually be able to have a body of work that will reflect what Nigerian advertising is all about. I mean, you go to any part of the world and say, well, this is Australian advertising. There's a particular sense of humor that goes with it. There's a particular thing you can find with Brazilian advertising. In terms of it can be very visual when it comes to print. American advertising is not the same as British advertising. There are certain peculiarities that you find from place to place. And I think it's only when we have a lot more people working, in the different agencies, but with a particular thing, that a commonality that speaks to the peculiarity of our country and our stories, then you get to see that. I mean, because when people come to Nigeria, they can feel the difference about the country. They can feel the energy, they can feel the ball, they can feel everything. So can that be reflected in the work that comes out of Nigeria? I think that's what we do.
Now, you are one of the jurors at the recently concluded Cannes Lions 2018. How would you assess the Nigerian creative industry? Now, let's benchmark it vis-a-vis what obtains at the global level.
Well, I mean, one thing for sure, I didn't had the privilege of seeing the work from Nigeria, so let's take that out. But that notwithstanding, I think one thing is this: for you to win at that level, it needs a lot more rigor. You need to give it everything. I mean, it's amazing the kind of things that you see that are winning. And I think also beyond that is it's not so much about just being creative. Almost every year there is a kind of flavor for the season. You know, there's a whole lot of talk about inclusion, about some of the things that won for those reasons. I mean, communication that has a purpose behind it. It's not just selling. Selling is not enough. How much of an impact is this communication having on people's lives? Because brands today have more power, you know, in some instances, if not most instances, than even governments. You know, look at the value of an Apple or Google or whatever. In fact, Google or Facebook as a brand is perhaps the world's largest country today. If you look at it, it is a country. So they command a lot of value, a lot of assets, and people, you know, can't escape brands. You understand what I'm saying? So brands need to be more meaningful. So there's a lot of talk about meaningfulness, and I think that's where we can thrive. I mean, one of the things for me which I see as an irony is that there is, for the first time, there is a CAN category for sustainable development. Now, sustainable development is a United Nations initiative, and the agencies that are entering for it and winning at it are from the Western world. So, but the bulk of those issues are our issues. So we also hold it to ourselves to be able to protect some of those things, find the right partners, and work with them. It will interest you that there's a category called the Glass Lions, which is also talking about you know, sustainable development in one form or the other, you know, advertising for good. And in Nigeria, I was on that jury, in that capacity for Washington NGO, and the wife of the Senate President, Mrs. Saraki, was there actually on that.
I quite agree with you. I can't agree less. We can't exhaust all the issues relating to this, but we'll continue at some other time. I want to thank you very much for your thoughts and your time, Lanre Adisa. It's my pleasure being with you.
Thank you.
I hope to see you again.
Thank you very much.
You're watching Marketing Edge on TV. Do stay with us. That's our package on this maiden edition of Marketing Edge on TV, Nigeria's leading program on the business of brand management and the management of brand business. It's nice doing business with you. Let's do it again next time because it promises to get better. I am Tony Agenmonmen. Do send us your feedbacks and comments using our social media platforms right there on your screen. Let's keep promoting the brand idea. Bye for now.